Good afternoon, Commissioner. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Commissioner Bailey. Commissioner Bailey, it is 4:05 p.m. You have quorum.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We now have quorum, and we'll begin the Oklahoma City Arts Commission July 19, 2021 regularly scheduled meeting. Before the commission votes on each item, I will ask staff to provide details on each case. I will ask the applicant if they have anything to add, and I will ask any members of the public if they wish to speak. If you wish to address the Arts Commission, you will be recognized. You will go to the side podium one at a time and state your name and address for the record and begin your comments. And please limit those comments to no more than 3 minutes. We will now conduct a roll call vote. Mark, can you conduct that vote?
Thank you, Madam
roll
Chair.
call attendance, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Bailey.
Here.
Commissioner Kovash.
Here.
Commissioner Salyer. Here. Commissioner Booker. Commissioner Booker. Commissioner Chambers. Commissioner Chambers. Commissioner Cooper. Commissioner Cooper. Commissioner Duong. Commissioner Duong. Commissioner Eichmann.
Here. Commissioner
Hill. Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Loftus. I'm here. Commissioner Moussant. Here. Commissioner Ramirez. Commissioner Ramirez. Commissioner Seward. Here. Commissioner Smalling. Commissioner Smalling. Commissioner Williams. Madam Chair, that completes the roll call vote. You have quorum.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 2. This is approval of our meeting minutes from the June 21st, 2021 regular meeting. I hope everyone has had the chance to read through the minutes, and if there are no corrections to be brought to our attention, I would entertain a motion and a second.
So moved.
So I have a motion from Commissioner Kovash and a second from Commissioner Salyer. Eichmann, excuse me. Can you correct that? And then any further discussion? Hearing none, Mark, can you call a roll call vote for us?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Bailey?
Yes.
Commissioner Kovash?
Yes.
Commissioner Salyer?
Yes.
Commissioner Eichmann?
Yes.
Commissioner Loftus? Sure. Commissioner Moussant? Commissioner Seward? Yes. Commissioner Williams? Madam Chair, that completes the roll call vote. The motion passes.
Item number 3, items for discussion action. 3A, Sunny Days Mural Festival Curatorial Plan, co-curated by Virginia Sites and Helen Opper. Murals at 9 sites as follows. Sites 1, 2, and 3 at 925 West Britton Road, and that is in Ward 7. Site 4 at 918 Northwest 94th Street, and that is also in Ward 7. Sites 5 and 6 at 914 West Britton Road in Ward 7. Site 7 at 913 West Britton Road in Ward 7. And sites 8 and 9 at 911 West Britton Road in Ward 7. Robbie, can you present this item for us?
Yes, thank you. So the applicant's Exhibit A reflects the elevations of each mural size that I'm going to go through in a minute. The reason I wanted you to see this table is there are 9 sites on 5 properties and 25 murals, and that can get really confusing when you slice and dice it all. So that's why I thought it might be better to go through it with some elevations, and that way it'll make a lot more sense. And so you can see that these are going to be a mix of painted building walls, and then painted building walls with utility meters, and then one has a window and air conditioner, and then the others are fence panels. Okay, here's the overall site plan, and I've indicated on all of these properties, and this is reflected in the staff report, which ones are C3, C4, and R1 in all these zoning districts. If this would have been an application for a mural, this would all have been allowed. So moving forward with the Arts Commission's recommendations on a curatorial plan, that is what the applicant chose to do. And so looking at minimum qualifications, the applicant also paired with a curator. Applicant Virginia sites paired with a curator, Helen Opper, that's also in the city's pre-qualified pool as a curator. Just to guarantee this, because this event is coming up very quickly, and we want to make sure it gets, that it's successful today. So I kept the aerial view on each one of these. Here's site 1 that you can see, and you can see it's indicated over on the building wall there to your left. And you can see that there are 5 panels, 5 separate panels. So this is where we come up to 25 murals, because one wall might have several panels for different artists. Okay, then on this fence, we have 13. Then we have another site. You can see the doors here and the utility meters. That would be one site for a mural. And then a fence. And then another fence. And this, I believe, is all one mural, but it was easier to go ahead and measure it in the little squares. And then we have another fence and another fence. And then the last fence. And so Sunny Days, the co-curators are both here, and one is the applicant, are both here if you would like to hear this is the first ever of the Sunny Days Mural Festival. The applicant is making a curatorial plan meeting or exceeding all of the minimum qualifications that the Arts Commission has recommended for the city. Because they do not plan to do this again at the site, the staff recommendations on this are to close it out in 3 months. We've talked to Development Services, and in previous cases like this with multiple sites, with property owner permission, Development Services has issued 1 permit for the curatorial plan, allowing all sites to be under that 1 permit. So that's what we've asked for again, and they've agreed to that. And so the only staff recommendations on this one are that Visual Arts Rights Act waivers from all artists will be submitted to the Office of Arts and Cultural Affairs following the event, or actually prior to installation, because those artists are known. Any artists that are assistants the day of the event sign a Visual Arts Rights Act waiver, and those are provided to us following the event. That a final report and closeout of the curatorial plan be presented by November 15th. It could always be presented earlier, but that gives the applicant, the co-curators, additional time if they had some other things that came up. And then it requires a permit. So do you have any questions on the staff report?
Commissioner Kovash?
I'm not completely clear on what we're doing here. Okay. There's no pictures of pictures.
Correct. Under a curatorial plan, we do not require images. Sometimes the applicants do submit images if they've already worked that far through their curatorial plan. But in this case, the applicants, the co-curators, had worked on the sites for the mural. They had worked with the property owners to get all the permission. They have a vast committee that you'll see in their application that worked on the actual artists to be selected, and so those could not be provided. And so that was part of the decision to come in under a curatorial plan, because we do not require that. We rely on the qualifications of the curators and the statements they make in their plan about how the murals will be carried out.
Is it okay if I ask?
Yeah,
I have a follow-on question.
Yeah.
Considering how many murals and how many people will be involved, is everybody clear on the Vera issues that might come up, especially if one of the owners wants to paint over something?
I think this would be a good time to ask the applicants if they would like to make any presentation, then we can ask them a couple of questions as well.
That's a great
Is
idea.
that-
And then also, because this, as you mentioned, is a large event, they are also getting a special event permit, because they're going to have vendors and, art for sales.
Each of you could present your name and then your address when you speak, for the record.
Hello, I'm Virginia Seitz at 525 Northwest 13th Street, OKC 73103.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Helen Opper, 839 Northwest 48th Street, Oklahoma City, 73118.
Maybe you could give a quick explanation on the background of the application and kind of what started it, and then I would open the floor for questions for commissioners to address you guys directly, if that's okay.
Yeah, so we had an application that had questions such as like, why do you want to participate? What's your background in making art? We had links to previous work and a few other paragraph questions. And then we had a team of 15 all go through and vote. And we had like a point system, and through that we curated the top applicants for this. In regards to your question, yes, the VERA rights and waiver, everything has been explained, and we have written a contract that I think I included in the packet that goes over what rights the building person has and kind of the process from there on out.
Do any other commissioners have questions for this applicant?
Yeah.
Yes, Commissioner Eichmann.
How long are the murals actually going to be in place? I mean, is there a sort of a projected time period for them? I mean, everything's completed on August 7th. But
Yes.
how long? And I was also noticing, I had hoped to be able to drive the site this last weekend and didn't get a chance to. Is it in an alley area or is it a street? It looks like an alley.
So the murals are going to be up until the property owners decide that they don't want them anymore.
Okay.
So they'll be permanent until something happens. And then the main event is going to take place right where 1 and 2 is. There's a huge parking lot space. And then Britain is the road right under it. And then there is an alley, like a gravel road alley, that the other numbers exist in.
Okay.
So this will create like a really great presence off of Western and from westbound, eastbound traffic off of Britain as well. I did actually go drive the site because I hadn't been in this area in so long that I wanted to see how that would work. And so it really does create a really great presence there. The other thing that I noticed is it's really going to help activate the alley and make it feel a lot safer. There is some new improvements on that alley, like there's a really beautiful fence that was recently up. I didn't see who the owner was or what the business was, but this is really going to clean up the alley, and possibly I can see them using it in the future for other events.
I was going to say, do you see this event being repeated next year, or what is the plan?
Yes, the plan long-term for Sunny Days, it's going to be an annual event. However, it's going to travel around Oklahoma. So hopefully long-term bringing like a bunch of public art to more rural places as well. But we thought we of course have to start in Oklahoma City. And so that's why that location is chosen. And then bouncing off what Robbie said, that alley, we've got 2 awesome patios. One's for Ben's Pizza, one's for Zero Tolerance Coffee, and both of them are gonna have walls involved. And then there's a screen printing shop that is, I believe, 5 and 6. That's their walls, so that will also help them out as well. And then we have an artist, Lisa, who owns Hideout Art, and we're doing her fences as well. And so it's another local business.
Yes.
Commissioner Kovash?
First, I just wanted to thank you for the whole concept of the cultivation of women mural artists. It's about time. And with that in mind, can you tell me about you're identifying the Mural Syndicate as an entity? Would you help me understand that, please?
Yeah, so I hopped on the Oklahoma Mural Syndicate Board of Directors back in December, and this is something I had been wanting to do for a hot second, and so proposed it in February. Everyone was like, yeah, let's do it. And so I was like, okay, great. This will be a lot easier going through a nonprofit, and not only that for funding, but one that has plenty of experience with murals and public events like that. And so, yes.
To get to Commissioner Kovash, to what I had made some notes on the curatorial plan itself. And so when we were going through that, comparing it to the minimum qualifications, and the Oklahoma Mural Syndicate is not a curator, it's an entity. There are curators within the Mural Syndicate, so that's why those notes were there. Virginia and I talked about that, and that was fine with her, that Virginia and Helen be the co-curators for this.
Plus you're accessing their insurance, is that what I read? The event insurance?
We're using their, yes,
Yes.
event insurance, and
Yep.
then as a nonprofit, using the bank account essentially to pay artists through the OMS.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Loftus?
No.
No.
Not yet. Yeah.
I don't know if you've been up in this area, but the Britton Road area is really.
Thank you, Mark.
Is it working now?
Yes, that sounds much better.
The Britton Road area has really had a lot of really nice improvements. It surprises me. It's unfortunate that about half of Britton Road from the Broadway extension over to Western, I don't think it's paved. It reminds me of some other locations in our community. But anyway, it's a very rough street. Hopefully the city can get in there and fix that up, help these people out. The aerial photograph of the site, there appears to be a street through the middle of it. What street is that?
Britton. The one on the bottom here?
The one on the bottom, I bet, is Britton.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's Britton.
And the next one up is what?
Is the alley.
Yes, it's an alley. It's not an official
And so where's
street.
94th?
Just north of that.
It's up here on the top?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
So
Thank
the
you.
city does have a future streetscape also in this area. And you might have also noticed it's part of the historic Route 66. And we're going through and beginning to mark all of those throughout the city. I just saw this, Randy and I got to see the signs
Yeah,
last week.
great.
So
Thank you. Seeing no further questions, I would open the floor for a motion.
I would make a motion that we recommend this to the city council.
Would you add any of the staff report items related to VERA waivers, and maybe Robbie can help supply any other staff suggestions on our recommendation?
So the recommendation would be to recommend the project with the conditions in the staff report?
Yes.
Does that
my
work?
recommendation.
Okay.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Salyer and a second from Commissioner Seward. Mark, any further discussion? Mark, can you proceed with a roll call vote for us?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Bailey,
Here.
Commissioner
Yes,
Kovacs.
Yes. Sorry.
Here, yes.
Commissioner Salyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Eichmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Loftus,
Yes.
Commissioner Massant, Commissioner Seward, Commissioner Williams. Madam Chair, that completes the roll vote. The motion passes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
We're looking forward to this. Congratulations on your recommendation.
Thank you guys so much. Hope to see everyone there. It'll be wonderful.
You're going to order cool weather like we have today, right?
Yes, the order's been placed.
Please.
Sunny, but cool,
yes,
right? It has
that's
to be
right.
sunny. Okay. Item 3B is the Midtown Mural Wall Curatorial Plan, curated by Kristin Bales, a two-sided freestanding structure at 1000 North Walker Avenue in Ward 6. Robbie, can you present this item for us?
Yes, thank you. So you have seen an application very similar to this. You've actually seen two applications previously. There was a freestanding fence wall erected at the site at Walker and 9th. And on one side, you saw an application for Thank You Healthcare Workers by Dusty Gilpin and Sergio Tank Ramirez. And then on that same agenda, you saw a Thank You Essential Workers by Rihanna Deck, and that was last May. And so now there still is no development proposed for the site. So the Midtown group, along with Midtown Rotary, would like to go ahead and see these murals begin to change. And so since Kristin has been a curator on other curatorial plans for the downtown area, she's made application to go ahead and submit a curatorial plan for this site as well. Now on this, here you can see both sites. At the top, you can see from St. Anthony's looking east, and then looking west. These were the previous murals, the Thank You Healthcare and Thank You Essential Workers. And all the Visual Arts Rights Act waivers have been submitted on these. And then because she had already been working with the artists under this curatorial plan, she is going ahead and submitting samples of what will be painted as the first turnover for the curatorial plan. So you can see on the top, Carlos Barboza, where were we, I guess, during the pandemic, and then moving forward together post-pandemic. And so I'm happy to answer any other questions that you may have. This does not have to go back to downtown design review because it already has a certificate of approval for this use, and it also does not have to get a new permit. It just needs Arts Commission recommendation for the curatorial plan.
Questions? Commissioner Kovash?
And this one will be long-term as opposed to the last one?
I think until development occurs.
I'm sorry?
I think until development occurs. This might be a good time for the applicant to come up and answer some of those.
Kristin Bales, 2228 Northwest 15th Street, Oklahoma City 73107. We do intend to update these murals. We had thought annually, but perhaps every 2 years until we see when development happens. But we would like to rotate out artwork.
Because you never know when development is going to happen. Yeah. The other thing I did want to point out is that all future artists, those Vera waivers will be turned in. That's one of the conditions recommended. And then also to report annually. And I'm going ahead and going to begin putting a month for that reporting in the staff reports. So I put July for this one so that there could be a report next July. And we'll see, there may be like no report, nothing has changed, if they wait another year to change it, so.
Any questions for staff or the applicant from commissioners? Commissioner Loftus?
What is this wall made out of?
I don't recall what the product that it's
It
made
looks
out
like
of is.
it looks like 2x4, 2x6 framing with some sort of board on it.
Yes, it was a product I wasn't familiar with, but Lingo Construction actually built the wall last year and donated their time, and we purchased the materials. I just can't recall what the...
But it has a smooth surface on it,
Yes,
so
yeah.
you can do something.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions?
I would like to add that we have been in communications with St. Anthony's Hospital about the timing of this mural, and we are actually deciding to pause on the installation of the mural as we evaluate numbers in case there is a surge, just so we can keep the thank you healthcare workers in anticipation if that does occur. So we are going to pause on the actual installation and kind of evaluate where things are at, but we wanted to go ahead and get the plan through so we can move forward when we feel comfortable.
Thank you.
Understandable. Hopefully you can move forward sooner than later for all of us. Hearing no further questions, I would entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Seward with a motion and a second from Commissioner Kovash. And any further discussion? Okay. Mark, can you help us move forward with a roll call vote?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Bailey.
Yes.
Commissioner Kovash.
Yes.
Commissioner Salyer.
Yes.
Commissioner Eichmann.
Yes.
Commissioner Loftus. Yes. Commissioner Mosant. Yes. Commissioner Seward.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams. Madam Chair, that completes the roll vote. The motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are now on item 4, the consent docket, and we have one item for this month. Item A, And Yet We Rise by Ashley Showalter, a mural for Hope Community Services at 6100 South Walker Avenue, Ward 4. Can you present this item, Robbie?
Yes, I'm going to give you a little more detail than I normally do on a consent docket, just because what the applicant is using on this building, this ALU panel, is a product that you're going to begin seeing more and more. Randy and I have been researching this a lot for several of our more historic buildings, and also buildings where we might be using federal money. We cannot go through environmental review successfully unless we use a different material and attach it through grout joints. So on this particular wall at the Hope Community Services Center, you can see here it is eligible. It's a over 50-year-old building, and you can see the site. The client felt very uncomfortable going ahead and painting directly on the wall. So we talked also about wraps, but also the rugged nature of the wall. It just seemed that the ALU panel would do a better job for what they wanted. And here is Ashley's design. She worked up several designs because she wanted to show hope and resilience and something that would communicate to a lot of people, but also bright and vivid enough that you could really see it from the street. And so that's what she's done here. This shows the panels and the directions that they will run. You can see that there are 6 different panels, and you can also see the standouts, the small little gray circles for how those will be attached. This will be a digitally designed image, and then they will be printing it on the ALU panel. So you'll see different versions of this. You'll see digitally printed, you'll see vinyl, you'll see some that are painted directly on ALU panel. So I wanted to make sure you understood what you might see in the future for some of this product. And it's highly weather rated. And in this case, Ashley is hiring a sign company to do it for, insurance and liability purposes. So she's not responsible for the engineering or the standouts. When a sign company installs, they've already been fully vetted by the city for how they do all of that, and it gets a lot of review. And so both Ashley is here today if you have any questions, and also the sponsor from the State Department of Mental Health Services, who is actually funding this for Hope Community Centers. We expect to see more of these in the future. And there are no conditions on this one because everything was turned in.
Okay, any questions from commissioners for staff? Yes, Commissioner Kovash.
How are these attached?
So they'll be using standoffs, so they will drill into the mortar joints and they'll put a receiver, and then the standout will be larger than the hole they'll use on the outside to go into that receiver joint.
Is there a space between to allow for airflow?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want too much for wind. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would the applicants like to present any information? It's not necessary, but if you would like to.
You want to talk about
your
mural? This is your first big mural, right, Ashley? Yeah.
Please state your name and your address when you approach the podium.
Hi, my name is Katie Lenhart, and I'm at 2316 North Youngs Boulevard, Oklahoma City 73107.
Hi, I'm Ashley Showalter. I'm the artist, and my address is 1612 North Gatewood Avenue, OKC 73106. So can I talk a little bit?
Yeah, just talk generally about the project and
So-
give us an introduction to it.
Sure. So I am a mental health professional. I've worked in mental health for 5 years for the state. I work for the state now. I work for a nonprofit, but I am on the Oklahoma Recovery Alliance. We meet monthly and talk about how to better mental health services. And in that meeting, they had talked about another provider in Oklahoma City called Curated had done a recovery mural with someone in mental health recovery, and I tried to advocate to do that again. I'm also in mental health recovery, so we kind of got connected with. I mentioned that, and the state connected me with Hope because they were wanting the same thing. So with that, I do want to clarify, I don't digitally draw. I draw with paint pens, and this will be cleaned up in an original size, and then it'll be scanned and photographed into a vector that'll be printed on vinyl onto the ALU panel.
I researched with the ALU panel, and alone, it can be printed on directly, but it'll last about 3 to 4 years, they said. They're going to print on vinyl instead and attach it to the ALU panel. That'll last 7 to 10 years, hopefully, for the mural. So that was, and it was the most affordable company I could find that would do both of those together. So I wanted to make sure it could last a long time if they wanted it to. And then I do have in the application, this was a little tricky. We didn't want to say the word hope because that'd be seen as an advertisement for Hope Community Services. So you can see in my application, I'm going to do a QR code into the piece that is going to have a larger description of the mental health meaning behind it. So you can read through the details, but it talks about kind of resilience and healing from trauma in the QR code. So it won't be an advertisement on the wall, but if people walk up, they can scan that and read more about the meaning behind the piece.
And had you planned to put something on the inside of the facility too? I think you
We
had
thought
talked
about
that.
I want to put the original, I think, because it's going to be originally painted on either a birch panel or a like gesso board, something flat, since I draw. The original is probably going to be placed in their lobby somewhere, so they'll have the original painting as well.
Excellent. Any questions for the applicant? Okay, hearing none, I would open the floor for a motion.
I would make a motion that we recommend this to the city council.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Salyer and a second from Commissioner Eichmann. Any further discussion? Mark, can you call for a roll call vote for us?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner Kovash,
Yes.
Commissioner Salyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Eichmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Loftus,
Yes.
Commissioner Mossant, Commissioner Seward, Commissioner Williams. That completes the roll call vote. Madam Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Item number 5 is discussion action on reports from committees. Commission Advocate, Commissioner Salyer, do you have anything to report?
I don't know if that's what makes this work, but I don't have a large report, but I do hope that everybody's had a chance in Carolyn Hill Park to see the installation of the lovely Fletcher Benton sculpture that was installed. It now has night lighting on it, and it makes a tremendous difference in that park. It's very exciting. So, that concludes my report.
Thank you. The next report is Arts and Culture Building Trust Task Force. Commissioner Chambers is not here today, so I will report on behalf of that task force. Continuing to meet, and we have a future meeting set in August to recap several of the case studies that were reviewed this summer. One from Barco, which is a Baltimore area Arts and Culture Building Trust, and then the other from ArtSpace. So thanks to staff for continuing to organize information in a very wide-ranging opportunity for the city. So that concludes my report, and we hopefully will have more to report next month. And then staff report is our next item. Robbie?
So Randy has been very busy over the last few months. He has artists that have recently completed 3 projects at Manuel Perez Park. And then also he's checked on whitewater completion in the Boathouse District. The lighting fixture was completed this weekend. And then right now we've got open calls to artists on the Wendell Wisenhut Sports Complex for a large sculpture at the entry to that. And then also tomorrow City Council will consider an interior public artwork for the municipal courthouse. And then we'll close out those accounts. So, lots going on.
A lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments from commission members? Do I have any members of the public that wish to speak on an item? Okay, hearing none, I will remind everyone that our next meeting is August 16th, 2021, in person here in the council chambers at 4 p.m. And we are adjourned.
Thank you.